Welcome everybody. Oh, that's right. I actually should be posting. That's right. LOLMidwest. I can't change, however, the team thing. So I don't think I have mod still. But anyway, we got that working. So we're starting to stream soon. I just want to do a quick test on sound. Can you say something? Oh, I don't know if you are on this screen, George. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, you're not added to this one. So let's do Discord capture start. Try to get you in the lobby? Yeah. Discord. Alright, try again. Uh-oh. I don't have you added in this still. Oh, maybe. Yeah, it should work now. Okay. Alrighty. I'm gonna do my own mic test on the stream. I have to make sure.
It sounds good.
Mic test on the stream. I have to make sure.
It sounds good.
Mic test on the stream. I have to make sure.
It sounds good.
Mic test. See, the weird thing about doing the mic test on the stream is that I hear you say, "Yeah, it sounds good," and then I hear you say, "Yeah, it sounds good" again, and I'm not sure if you're repeating it or if I'm hearing it twice. And the answer is I'm hearing it twice.
That do be how it works sometimes.
We will soon be going into this this game. Be playing Royal Rogues. Oh, does it have the capture? Let's see. Pre-game. No, dude, I have to put it onto every single one of these things. It doesn't have it on here. So we're gonna do Discord audio. I don't know if I have to redo it every single time I play or I do this, but we're gonna see. Yeah, because I can see the audio get added after the fact. Also, you might want to adjust your mic.
Okay.
Oh, and I should bring up the LOLMidwest so I can get into the chat as well. I don't know. Are you a mod for that yet?
No.
Okay, one of us will need to become modded at some point, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm still not either. That's fine.
You want to try inviting me again?
Yeah, sure.
I tried to. Okay. I don't know if it actually helped, but I joined my own tournament game and then left.
Nice.
And the lobby loaded this time. All right. 2 Group A teams. Solace Endevour Esports needs to win out to make it to playoffs, I believe. Maybe through a tiebreaker too.
Yeah, they're 2-1 right now, right? If they win this, then they're 3-1. Solace Endevour is 1-2. I'm sorry, 1-2.
Yeah.
But then they improved to 2-2. It gives them a shot at week 5. And Royal Rogues, I think, is playing spoiler at this point, right?
Yeah, they're unable to make it to playoffs at this point, but they can still have a big impact on a lot of people's tournament lives.
That's right.
With this match.
And you might think, oh well, you're knocked out of playoff contention, not a big deal. No, this is when you bring out all the cheese picks you weren't sure you're going to bring out. This is when you go ham. You bring up that one strat you wanted to just try that one time. This is when you bring it all out. You got to see if it's going to work. You got nothing to lose.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no shame in putting your whole effort into it, and if you're having trouble picking up wins, maybe it's time to get back in the kitchen and do a little cooking.
Exactly. I want to see what they cook on up. Now we're just getting into lobby here. Let me see if I can move this over to the pregame lobby in a second here. We're just waiting for this draft to get started up. Doesn't seem like we're yet at match time, so it's going to be a few more minutes till we're ready for the actual game to start. But I can bring up this little draft, interact here. I'm on neither team, and we'll transition on over to this. Boom. George, can you just speak real quick? Just make sure that this still is. Oh yeah. So I have to set it back up every single. So I'll have to figure this out later because there's an issue. That's how it is. I think I know what's going on, but I can't. Yeah. So what happened is the old window is no longer the window that it needs to capture. So try saying something now.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. So I have to reassociate the active program with it. It's not going to work right now. That's okay. Okay. We have some a slight delay right now. Teams are getting worked in, and there are some small role situations being worked out. I think I see a level 1,111 player in here. That's awesome. Never play another game of League at this point.
Well, you've got like a little buffer, right?
Yeah,
A little bit on either side.
you get to play your yearly game. Once you get too close, it's over. You're done. Customs for the rest of your life. No more XP. Wait until they do login bonuses.
Uh-oh. All right, so do we want to look at the draft real quick? See what we might expect?
Yeah, I was considering. Well, I was already actually kind of looking at some of the OPGGs. So it looks like hold on 1 second, actually. Yeah, on the Solace Endevour side, I have to see who's playing which role because I may be a little confused. Yeah, they have a very avid Nefiri player in the jungle. Plays for days. A lot of games on the Nefiri. So that's interesting to me because I've been seeing a lot of Nefiri lately in solo queue. I think that Nefiri's in a very strong spot. Wonder if that will come through. And the only other thing I see is that their sixth player, who I'm not sure will be playing today, is a very avid Milio player. Those are the two ones that stand out to me. On the Royal Rogues side, there's the Draven that is definitely up there. Good win rate on it. And they're really a big fan of playing the super duper tanky tops, like the Orns, the Kenches, the Mundos. So, based off of what I'm seeing here, I'm expecting it to be a very scrappy bottom half. But I guess we'll see what comes on through. I'm gonna have to take a look through some older drafts to see what's been coming out. If there's anything spicy I like. You seeing anything on your side that you're looking forward to?
Nothing really specific. I'm excited to see what these teams are gonna try out for today, and it just looks like it could be a really interesting matchup overall.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to see. So I'm looking through, some histories of the drafts from each team right now. On Solace's side, at least right now, I'm seeing a lot of very very high pop off games. Darius on their top laner, so it's very interesting to see. I don't think I've seen anybody picking that at the current moment. Hold on 1 second. So they said that they're going to need a few more minutes to just look over a few things. It looks like there was a rule swap that was announced and agreed upon. So they're getting that handled out, and then they're going to get into the the game, but they need to redraft or reprep bans. So a couple more minutes, we'll get into the pick and ban.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I saw on that side. Royal Rogues, I feel like I scouted them at some point recently when I looked at their team. We played against them. They like to play a lot of ball comps. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of really wombo combo, smack them up in a big team fight all at once, and win the game style comps. So that's interesting. Um, at least right now, I feel like most comps I see aren't the picture perfect front to back comps. That could be a personal bias, but definitely lots of comps are playing skirmish heavy early game and non-stop fight because I believe of the pace of the game in the meta. So it's interesting to see someone or a set of teams that's just going full wombo.
Yeah, for sure. I think looking back at their previous matches for the split so far, we probably are going to see a lot of pressure coming topside towards Royal Rogues from Solace.
Yeah, yeah,
I
absolutely.
think it's going to be a topside, heavy topside pressure. They'll have to figure out how they want to deal with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a recent series in what's to be what was it, week 3, where Solace played versus Instinct CK. It's currently the group leader, the unmatched defeated team. I think they lost one single game so far. But Solace took them on, and they had a pop-off Darius performance. They didn't win the game, but he was definitely a large contributing member of the game. And that's not just that game. There's multiple games. There's multiple different champions. Their top laner seems to be a menace in this tournament, and I have not had the honor of playing against them yet. So I don't know firsthand, but I can see the stats, and they tell their own story. So
Yeah.
it's definitely something to look forward to. Looks like they're ready for draft. We are ready. So let's
Do you
see
think
what's
we'll see
going on.
some contest over any picks? I don't know if you got to look very closely at anything. There's some overlap on Mordekaiser. I think just generally 80 carry pools overlap a lot in this tournament, so we could see some 80 carries getting picked away.
Where one team plays ball comp and the other team plays aggressive topside. I don't
Yeah.
expect there to be that much. One team likes to play Draven, the other team likes to play like not that. Like there's nothing that's going that hard. So I
I
don't
think,
expect that much overlap. And we see a Shen ban immediately right out the gate. Oh, do
yeah,
you have
that's
the
a little
draft?
strange to me, but I understand it. Yeah, I'm getting it through the stream, so it's fine.
Okay.
I the one thing I'm looking for really is just ban the Darius.
Yeah.
The guy
Absolutely.
proves himself every week when they let it through for one game. It's probably worth a ban.
It banned out the Olaf. The Olaf was another one that came out for sure. I was looking through there, so yep, the Olaf makes total sense. Syndra coming out as a ban. It's interesting. I think
Yeah.
that Syndra's always good and competitive. There's very few spots where she doesn't just have the ability to pop off or to control a game. It depends on the player, but it's always in a at least 50-50 state. I don't feel like there's too many things that really destroy her in competitive atmospheres. You have to be
Yeah.
really willing to throw down the mid lane gauntlet and play like an assassin.
And Bard as the third ban is okay. No,
No
we're
Bard.
going something other than Bard. Rel. So Darius is available as a former top lane player. If you're really confident in your Darius, are you just picking it in first rotation here in one of the first 3?
I would say last split I would be slightly less, but only because there are teams that are willing to immediately lane swap against you, and Darius does fuck all in a lane split. Sorry, no more swearing on the stream here. But outside of that, yeah, you can absolutely be comfortable with just picking Darius. I mean, he does have a few matchups where it's harder, but he's a lane bully, and you know that in most scenarios you're getting lane priority for a majority of it. And I don't see a situation where if you've had 2 huge pop off games, you don't just take it. You know, you
Yeah.
you want to put the opponent in a situation where they have to answer to you. So we see the Xin as the first pick for blue side, and they're countering immediately with Gwen. That's a well-known flex, at least currently, at least between top and jungle. but I have even
Yep.
seen Gwen mid, so I wouldn't be too surprised if a team decides that they want to be a little spicier with it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised to see it be spicy at some point, but I think we can expect it probably going towards jungle here. Mordekaiser got hovered for a second by, or not Mordekaiser, sorry, Yorick got hovered for a second by Roller Rogues. I wouldn't be surprised if they were considering a Yorick jungle there too. Um, these teams have a little bit of Yorick. There's the Mordekaiser I mentioned earlier. And Mordekaiser really good at, oh, maybe not. Do we see a Cassante instead?
Rumble, Malphite. All right. Well, Malphite's not going to
Rotating
be the
through
best
everything.
into what seems to be the best top lane pick for the enemy team. But
Yeah.
it's one of those situations you kind of know that you'd be in a bad spot and you're playing to that same wombo that you're used to, the same wombo that Royal Rogues loves to play, and it sets him up. He knows what his win con would be if that's going to be the case. I'd be kind of
Yep.
surprised if they don't pick Darius here because it looks like that the other team would just ban it out at this point. But who
And
knows?
Royal Rogues, 80 carry is a very practiced Nyla. We see them take the Malphite, take the Nyla. They're playing directly into their strength. They want to group up as five, hit you with all of their buttons, and then go win the game because you're dead.
It's interesting when you're talking about the Yorick. It's actually Solace who's played 2 games of Yorick jungle recently. But
Hmm.
with the new changes, I wonder if that's still a champion you can play. I haven't heard about how it's been since Riot has changed it. But we do see
Yeah.
Lilia locked in, so that to me all but confirms Gwen topside and Lilia jungle. It's double AP topside versus Malphite. He's not in a happy spot.
Yeah, and picking Malphite into a Gwen that turns out to be a Gwen top really isn't the spot you want to be in.
No,
It's going to be painful early, it's going to be painful later, and all you want to do is somehow survive long enough that you can just run away from the Gwen and go help your team.
yeah, I mean it's rough. You're playing Malphite. You have 2 options: you hit Q or you don't. You hit Q, she uses W. Now you've used half your mana bar, and she's immune. So,
Yeah, Gwen is
um,
immune.
I mean, granted, it doesn't work out that way. The Gwen W is long cooldown, but it's very difficult for Malphite to get an edge in this lane. If he can get that MR item going pretty early on, then he'll be alright to at least wave clear and get out. But ultimately, this is just going to be a stack ball level composition, unless there's something we haven't thought about here. There's a chance that this Malphite's getting flex and it's a pure bait.
Uh, we could see a Malphite mid. It's possible. Malphite jungle, less possible.
I'm thinking support.
Um, Malphite support, I would be totally fine playing here, especially into Emilio. Um, what's interesting is we see the Braum ban. I'm a happy guy whenever I see Braum banned from my games, so I know who I'm rooting for. Um, but it just, I'm not sure how much Nyla cares about Braum. Maybe a
It's
good amount.
interesting to
That's
me. We're seeing at least 4, 5, 6, depending on how you want to look at these different champs. We're seeing so many support bans in this series alone already. We've got Rel, Braum, Lulu, Pike, and Morg. And if you
yeah.
consider
I think
Shen
Morg's got
potentially
to
one,
be
that's 6.
a support ban. And we see Maokai slotting into the support role here. We need a nice team fighty AP mid. And we're getting Aurelion Soul, so they're rounding. Oh, Victor, same thing. Rounding their comp out well. They've got a lot of ways to go in, and then a Victor to try and throw some damage on top of it all.
I like the proactivity that they've created within their composition, right? There's no room for a Nyla, for a Malphite to win this game without getting their hands dirty. They have to get in there and they have to fully commit, and their whole team revolves around it. All of them. The only one who's even slightly not like that is Victor, but we all seen Victor Storm since it's gotten patched, so. And there's the last pick, a Kennen. Interesting.
Yep. Kennen should be uh, the mid laner here, it looks. Unless we're doing some crazy swaps to try and get Lilia into the top lane for some reason. Maybe we have a
Yeah,
Lilia player somewhere.
I mean, I'm quickly looking through to try to just see if there's anything I'm missing from the Solace side, but I don't see anything in here that they played. I think that this is a new pick for the team. and I would be kind of surprised if it goes anywhere but mid. I agree. Just wonder what caused that to be the case. Like, I don't know enough about the team at Solo Queue. If anyone in chat has some history on it, this seems to be like a new secret pick that they're whipping out for this series.
And what a great time to whip it out. If you're going to play a horse, you want to play a horse into a bunch of melee champions, looks great.
So let's see here. Hold on one second. Everyone is R, it appears. Casters are ready. Let me see. Can I get to the right spot for this thing? Pre-game, draft capture. We got that. I think we can show this now. So we are just waiting now for this to start on up. Get into game 1 of Royal Rouges versus Solace Endevour esports. So, George, you know my favorite question to ask before the start of every single game.
Yeah.
It's time. It's coming. It's here. Take the nameplates off. No information about any player. Just looking at champions. Which draft do you choose?
I take Royal Rogues all day long.
Every single day. Twice on Sundays. And would you look at that? It's Sunday. I think that this draft is fantastic for them.
I think it's got a lot of synergy between the different parts. I think the one thing you really have to worry about is Milio plus Lilia. Milio stopping you from going forward, and then Lilia putting your whole team asleep. If you can avoid the extent of both of those things being a big problem, I think you're going to have a great time with this comp. Maokai Nyla has a lot of explosiveness early in lane, especially around level 3. Malphite up top is going to really struggle in lane, so all you got to do is get past laning phase, but you have the Zinza for the early power. You definitely have the possibility there. And then a Victor will scale up, get his stacks, and then that ult coming on top of all of your other damage, people will die.
Absolutely.
And who's going to stop them? Gwen's not tanking. Jinx isn't a tank. Jinx is the one that's supposed to be all the way in the back. Are you just going to peel with Cannon ult? No. Both teams are sprinting headfirst at each other, and outside of the advantages that you'll pick up from matchups like Gwen into Malphite, Solace might struggle once we hit those 5v5s.
To me, this looks like you're kind of on a clock when it comes to playing Solace Endeavor. You have favorable matchups, potentially, depending on how you look at the bottom lane matchup. I'll take your opinion on that in a second here. But at least we know that there's one hard winning matchup here. You're on a clock, you can kind of side split the lanes, but you don't have too much safety. Your Jinx Milio is not being headed by like a control mage in mid lane. So it's going to be a bit difficult for them to play against, you know, a 5-man ball squad that's going all the way down mid lane. They've got to either get the split push going, or they're on a clock to end the game before team fights become unwinnable.
For sure. And not only double, we've drafted complete triple topside AP Kennen, Lilia, Gwen. Malphite doesn't have to build armor just because he's the armor champ. I think like you just build a little bit of MR and it will go a long way. Gwen will still be able to cut through with the true damage. Victor also a much more conventional mid laner than Kennen. Kennen not really a meta mid laner since what, season 3 or 4?
It's been a while. Will of the Ancients was a great time though.
Yeah, so Will of the Ancients season 2. So if Victor's able to abuse his shield on his Q, Kennen might have a really hard time trading against the Victor. He'll have good wave control, at least be able to like clear wave as fast as Victor, but just outside of the Victor laser. And then the bot lane, Jinx Milio has a ton of range, a ton of poke at level 1. It can be very oppressive, and Nyla, not really known for her range, Maokai melee champion, they're going to get incredibly pressured off of the first 2 waves, and it'll be up to the Nyla lane to survive the poke, and up to the Jinx lane to apply enough of it to get a lead that they can hold on to.
It's interesting. I think that the only really advantageous spot, I would say, for Royal Rogues in the early mid game is going to be hopefully their mid jungle duo, depending. You know, Kennen is heavily outranged. It's very difficult, like you said, for him to take advantageous trades versus Victor. And where you have mid lane priority, you have jungle priority. So I would say that that's kind of their saving grace, but their side lanes are going to be in a bit of trouble. Zin's going to need to be active in making sure that people who overstep get punished, put in their place.
Yep, for sure. The top side and the bot side are in lane, heavily favoring Solace here, I think. It's up to Xin Zhao to kind of even that out so that they can reach mid game at a point where they can team fight.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at this, and I like to run this now as a bit of my own like mental problem here. So you get to 15, 20 minutes, and you've got to assign your side lanes here. Victor, I don't think he's too happy about the Gwen matchup, but neither is Malphite. Gwen might be left unchecked in a side lane unless there's some weirdness where Nyla can come and try to fight her. But I don't see any champion who can realistically look to fight a farmed and fed Gwen. I think Gwen is potentially a full-on win condition for this team, even with the draft not looking super well for them in terms of skirmishes and full-on team fights. Gwen can just side lane it.
Yeah, I think Kennen's going to have the same problem from the other side, though. Kennen really more of a team fighter later on, especially from the mid lane, where you're not, uh, you know, potentially playing or building towards a build where you can side lane, you can survive. Um, I think Kennen's going to also struggle to find success, but the Gwen does seem like a big problem. And the extra thing about Gwen is with all that spell vamp that she has, jumping on her with Malphite, Maokai, and one of your 2.5 damage dealers, she's just going to heal more. It's really not going to help. Bringing more members to help CC her won't really slow her down when she has her fully stacked Q plus an ultimate coming through all of you at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there shouldn't be too many scenarios where, in my opinion, if I'm looking at this as Gwen, you're the only melee champion on your team comp. You're not super happy about the idea of taking all of the damage for your team before a team fight breaks out. So really, I think she's going to be on the side lane as often as possible until it's time to deliver. But ultimately, that champion is just going to cut down towers nonstop. She has to be put in place really fast. And I don't see a way realistically that this will happen. Barring a solo lane kill or some form of counterplay that I'm not expecting, I think that the Gwen's going to be the crux of this game.
Yeah, I think it should be at the front of the minds of both teams. For Solace, they want their Gwen to have a nice, easy lane. Uh,
It's interesting. Malphite, Ignite, TP. We just lost you. I have to put you back into this. Dang it. Give me 1 second here. I gotta fix this. We'll fix this for next stream. For now, try to talk real quick. Uh-oh. I did it for the wrong one. 1 second. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix both exactly like you said. Oop. Okay. Alright, so now we should be on this one. That's right. Go ahead, try to talk again.
yeah,
Okay,
so
good.
pretty much, maybe Malignant's build for Malphite gives him enough damage to just throw Qs at Gwen all day, and that'll help him survive early lane. But I think both teams need to be very cautious of how Gwen's going to impact this map. Uh, Royal Rogues are going to struggle to deal with a 2-item Gwen in the side lane. Once she hits 2 items, it's going to be a a 3-person job every time Gwen shows up top or bottom. And that's going to be hard for them, because every time they use a big cooldown, it's going to make their wombo combo worse for afterwards.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. The more I look at this, it kind of looks like they understood this, and then Malphite decided, screw this. I'm playing Ignite. I'm playing Comet. I'm playing for lane. I'm not trying to scale it for team fights. I want to match the side lane. I want to get an advantage. I want to have a chance. And there is a world where Malphite, with this aggressive build, takes the early lead, grabs a little, AP, a little bit of MR, and just starts taking massively advantage trades. I'm actually kind of surprised that this was the play. It does weaken their front line a bit, but they've got Maokai, they've got Xin. They can make that sacrifice. It's a bit of a gamble. It's a bit of a throwing down the gauntlet. I'm happy to see this change in strategy.
Yeah, I've been a big fan recently of Malphites that build like Malignance into full tank. It gives you a lot of early power and the ability to like buy mana and throw Qs at your opposing top laner, and then just Malignance is enough damage to make every bot lane sad. You can hit 1 or 2 man ults on the important targets all game long, and your ult turns into like a 50-second cooldown. You can just run over games, and then be tanky at the same time. So like a Malignance into a Hollow Radiance is really interesting for me as a potential Malphite build.
Yeah. Yeah, and it seems like, looking at the chat, that they're in alignment with this. The idea of AP Malphite seems to be pretty well thought on. I'm actually relatively new to this. I ultimately don't feel like Malignance has been seen very often as we see.
Milio getting caught early, blows flash immediately.
We see a quick trade of some. Milio on the level 2 gets immediately Maokai W'd. Now trading the flash for it stinks, but health-wise they're okay to stay in lane. Gonna need to be a little bit of follow-up from Xin here. We see Malphite using up most of his mana to just trade on Gwen.
Yep, trying to get the health bar low. Gwen will be able to sustain some of that, but at the same time, leveling up gives you a pretty good chunk of mana. It's not the end of the world for him.
Yeah, absolutely not. However, we do see Kenny going for a trade.
Gets stuck in the Victor prison mid, and they're just going to trade a couple autos.
So the Lily is finishing her clear up onto the top side. Malphite's taking an early base up here, so trying to avoid that damage.
We're seeing another hit on Milio bot lane. It looks like he's too far forward. Nyla flashes, they get the heal out of Milio. Barrier for some reason, but it's enough, and they get first blood.
Wow, first blood over to Nyla. Yeah, the barriers seem to be just kind of maybe looking for heal, maybe looking for the speed up.
Yep.
And forgetting that you have barriers potentially. But either way, hey, I'll take the summoner for a kill there. Well done. Gets Nyla off her early start that she kind of really relies on, to my understanding. But I know that she's a good late game champ, but man, is it scary to see a Nyla who does like the Diana wombo combo on you and you can't deal with her. So this is going to be the start of that.
Yep. And not only is the kill good, but the whole situation bot lane looks great right now for Royal Rogues. We talked about in pregame how Jinx Milio has a lot of pressure at level 1. They have the extra range from Jinx Rocket, the extra range from Milio, and look, Xin Zhao comes into the lane, they're bullying it. What a great decision, excellent macro, and they just pick up another free kill.
It was alcove gaming by Xin Zhao there. He sat in the alcove and threw the W out. It's going to go into the kill.
Oh, and Gwen dives Malphite top.
Wow, fantastic. Look at the CS lead. This is enormous for Gwen. She gets a full, 2 or so waves underneath the tower and the kill, and still has TP to boot on top of it. Now, Malphite's coming back in the lane, but it's going to be missing so much gold. It's going to be an enormous lead. We can see 900 gold lead already for Gwen.
Yep. This is game 1 CLT. Yep, we just started. And what an exciting first 4 minutes we've seen. 3 kills already. Not looking good for Malphite, right? But we see the MR getting picked up by him. That'll help kind of ease the pressure a little bit. But we were hoping to see Solace with 2 winning lanes here in the top and the bottom lane. Top lane's going well, according to plan. Bot lane really isn't. And we'll have to see how that develops as we move on.
Yeah, it appears exactly like Royal Rogues had it drawn up. Their top side is just going to kind of have to deal with as we see Xin first going for a trade here.
Yep.
A little bit of trade onto the cannon. Doesn't look like it's going to turn into much, but he's still going.
I don't know how much further they want to go. They end up blowing Cannon Flash with Maokai seen in the roam coming across the mid wave.
Yeah, he had the flash available. I'm kind of surprised Maokai didn't go for it at that point. But it's interesting that Kennon's willing to respect it.
Yep. Maokai, notorious Hex Flash user. You have no problem throwing that flash out as early as you want. But at the same time, if you save it for bot lane, you've already gotten 2 kills there. And man, Lilia having all of the luck topside. Gets another kill, or gets Malphite dead again.
Yeah, Malphite not having his ulti yet has no way of really getting out of danger. It's just kind of a free kill.
You see another play bot lane. Nyla gets stuck in the Jinx traps and is unable to hit that ult. This Nyla lane, they've done a good job abusing the Nyla level advantage that you get inherently from her passive.
Yeah.
But good job by Solace putting those Jinx traps down.
It's another flash down.
Right in the right spot.
It's another spot, another opportunity for Zen to keep going at this. You know, I was alluding to it earlier. You know, Rose kind of knew coming into this, presumably, that it was going to be a really tough sell on the top side of the map, so just devote everything to bottom half. And they're doing that. They're creating openings, and even if they don't get another kill off of this, you know, Jinx just kind of has to live in never-ending fear that there's going to be an angle on them, and someone's going to go for it. And currently, there's not enough to keep them alive for it.
We see now junglers doing a little bit of almost vertical jungling 7 minutes in, stealing each other's blue buffs. Both of them... Oh! Lilia resets the blue for a second there, slows it down. Victor can show up. Ah, very close. But at least they have the vision. Malphite knows to back off. They're safe for a little bit longer. We see Maokai roaming up towards these grubs. Maybe they go for instant grubs.
It's interesting when you take a look at the gold here. You can see, you know, Gwen having almost double the gold, and yet if you look at the gold lead, there's only 600 between the two teams. So, you know, it's exactly kind of as we were talking about pregame. You know, Gwen's gonna have a commanding spot. We only see 8 minutes into the game, but this truly is exactly that way. So, how does Royal Rogue really like handle this? What are they looking to do? Are they just looking to team fight this immediately before Gwen gets out to turret?
Yeah, I think their big plan here is just to do exactly this. Let's see how they handle it. Gwen ult, ooh.
Wow.
They managed to get the 1-for-1, which is good. They get the shutdown, but at the same time, Gwen ult just cascading over the 2 or 3 members that have shown up there. Does a lot of damage, heals her up quite a bit, and that's before she even finishes her item there. Now finishing Riftmaker. Lilia trying to slow things down, Cannon on the way. This could turn into a full fight. Oh, big sleep hits all 3 of them. And this looks really good on the side of Solace. They managed to take down 2 off the end of that.
Well done. And something I didn't think about up until I saw the combo actually happening in real time is, I believe, does Cannon ult count as a damage over time effect for Lilia ult not to interrupt? Be interrupted by that?
I'm actually not completely sure. I'm
wonder
gonna
if
go
that's
back
the
in
case,
time and
if
take a look.
It's going to apply more than once. But yeah, that's really interesting. If that's the case, it would explain why the pick got thrown out here. Everyone knows about the MF Lilia combo. But that's one where, yeah, I did not know about that, and that could be a deciding.
We weren't able to see it for sure in that fight. The Cannon ult didn't hit anyone that was actively asleep.
Unfortunate. Alright, well, we'll have to see.
But it stunned them up, kept them in range. Something to look out for.
Yeah. Looking back to bot side, it seems like the Nyla is indeed another 800 or so gold lead ahead, so she's making good use of her advantage, up about a little over, seems to be around a full level. Let's take a look here. We've got Nyla at 8.5 and Jinx at a little under 7.5, so yeah, a full level lead in bottom lane. For
a full
Nyla.
level, 20 CS, a kill and an assist. It's a pretty good start for the Nyla.
Absolutely.
And then also, as we've predicted, Cannon having a tough time trading into Victor in lane here. This is the problem you run into, but to a lesser extent, picking for team fights.
Seems to be a disrespectful Malphite fight. One's going for it.
Yep.
Dodges 2 of the ultis.
Oh, manages to get the knockup, but it's still not enough. That third ulti from Gwen just chunks the Malphite, even through all that MR that they're buying.
Malphite decides he's going to go for it. Maybe he's got enough damage to try to kill at the last moment. 5 HP left, goes for the full combo, doesn't get it. I would assume at this point, you know, as Malphite, it's really hard for you to try to go up and clear the wave. You know, every single time you walk up for a cannon, a caster, a melee minion, that Gwen's going to all in you. She's got Ghost, you're not getting away fast enough. So it's really difficult to survive as Malphite at this point. I think he just got no choice but to stand back and let her have her way in the lane.
Yeah. Oh, we see a fight going on mid. Victor unable to stun the Kennen. Kennen ult comes out, and they just let him burn. Give it over to Lilia. Lilia picks up the kill.
The double mask builders, knowing both their DOT, eventually will kill them. Wow. This early game, to me,
And that
looks solidly in the hands of Solace Endevour. Which, you know, draft-wise, not too unexpected. But I will say that I wasn't expecting there to be a massive mid lead for their team, but it looks like it's shaping up that way.
Yeah, especially with this plate going down. Victor has to TP back to prevent this next plate, maybe pick up an extra minion, just apply some tempo. But yeah, all the money really does add up, and Victor, now down 500 gold, was probably ahead in gold up until... Ooh, instant flash by both of them, but Lilia hits the snowball.
Then flashes over, tries to get him out, but it's too late.
Barely unable to save Victor there. Really close. Good idea to try and flash and prevent the Lilia damage.
Yeah, it was close. You got to try to save what you can where you can. It's difficult, you know, at least in Zin's perspective, his current priority is through the bottom half. He's trying to stick in that area. They've gotten one drag already. The next drag's up, and Nyla and Maokai are hunting right now. They're looking for something to start that up so they can get that second drag.
They sure are. And just to direct your attention to the top lane for a second, Malphite, having a little bit of a struggle lane, has decided not leaving tower range this game. And so Gwen has just taken that and decided just hard freeze. Malphite is no longer getting XP.
This is a doomsday scenario for sure. You know that any single time you try to walk on up here, she's all-inning you. The wave is all the way as far as possible away from your turret. Not much you can do here, but hey, your team's getting dragons. All you got to do is be an R button later on. You'll take that responsibility.
Yep, it's maybe not the thing you want to be doing, but it's the thing you can choose to do. You can opt into it, and you won't be giving more of your own gold to Gwen, and you'll be in a better position to help your team out later on. And then you can call your team up top, but look at this. Solace doing a great job trying to prevent this play from happening, has already preemptively sent 2 members here to help with the counter gank. Maokai ult goes off, Kennen ult doesn't hit anyone, but Lilia's in the middle of them, they're so low. 3 for 1, right? 3 for 0.
3 for 0.
Really good proactive job by Solace to show up there expecting people to come try and stop that Gwen, break that freeze.
Maokai doing his best to try to hold these people off as long as he possibly could, but the Gwen is just too far ahead. She can't get bursted down. She survives, and everyone else gets cleaned up shortly afterward. So top half of the map is totally dominated by Solace.
Plates have fallen now at this point, and Solace taking many more plates than real rogues. And most of them going directly into Gwen's pocket.
So you're at this point in the game, you're down 6,000 gold at 14 minutes, score's 3-11. However, you've got 2 dragons as royal rogues, you have what seems to be the general better on-paper teamfight comp. I mean, how are you looking to play this game? Presumably, you know, just based off of the comps, Solace will almost never look to group as 5. They may stay as 4. I guess you just got to march your way through your 4v5 and pray that that's enough.
Yeah, I think all you can do is clump up and pray, right? You need to have objectives on the map that you can clump for. Rift Herald right here is a good excuse. Solace, though, they can just choose not to take Rift Herald, right? Like, you don't need to 5v5 against the good 5v5 team. they have the wallets where they could opt into it anyway. Now up to 6,000 gold ahead. Gwen kind of warding into the jungle a little bit, and it looks like they're the ones that start up the Rift Herald. We see Malphite bottom lane with TP though, so they could choose to try this if they wanted, but it looks like they might be making the call. We're a little bit too far behind right now. We need to farm up. The more gold that's in the game, the closer we will dig to each other. But no, Maokai flashing forward. They're trying to get a pick on Kennen here. Nyla gets jumped away. Nyla jumps in. Lilia sleeps 2. Xin gets 1. But 1 falls, and that gives Jinx the get excited. And she pops off. Huge damage from the side of Solace. And it looks like the damage just isn't there right now.
And Gwen just picks up a side lane solo kill on her own. So while they're getting the towers mid lane, Gwen's getting a tower top lane. And Malphite's not too happy, and not much he can do. He's got to spend some time trying to catch up. So well done by Solace. They've turned around both spots, and they're just crushing it.
Yep, and the outcome of that play, Maokai pushes a wave into tower, and Solace gets 3 towers.
I like that.
Not really the trade you're looking for, and we're up to 9,000 gold now.
Well, the bounties are going to play a role here. You know, you're looking for any in at this point. If you're Royal Rogues, you find one person with a 700 gold shutdown. I'm looking at you, Lilia. You try to find that way, and hey, that can be half an item. You know, you get 1,000 gold shutdown plus tower. Now you're 1,300, 1,500 gold. You just gotta look for this stuff. As we see Gwen going aggressive, Kennen as well.
Kennen following up. Kennen not in range to finish the stun. Flashes forward, misses the ult. They're hovering there though. It looks like Royal Rogues are thinking about it. And Solace back off anyway.
Not sure how many people are on the map. I don't believe that too many on the Royal Rogue side were showing at that point, so maybe worth it to get out and not overplay your hand. But either way, there's not much that they need to rush for. They're sitting comfortably in a spot where they can take ownership of both jungles and all 3 waves up until turrets, and that's going to eventually choke out Royal Rogues.
Yep, and as we see Malphite finally getting a chance to fight this turret, get some damage done to it top, down 4,000 gold on his own out of this team's 9,000 gold lead. And it looks like he's not opting to TP, but they're going to try and fight this anyway. Oh, here's the TP, but it's a little delayed. The dragon's already at half.
Alright.
Xin Zhao marks the dragon, goes in, gets the steal. And now we have a Gwen flank, maybe. 2 sleeps. Maokai ult comes forward. Gwen's alone in front.
They've made the call. It looks like to just leave. Try to save as much as
Emilio
they can.
trying to speed everyone else up. Malphite has his ult.
He's gonna have to use it if he wants to live.
Does not use it.
Too late. He's not
And
able to get
Victor, caught in the back, is going to die to Gwen in a little bit here too. And this is looking rough now.
up. Maybe possible if they can push down an inhib at least here. They have to wait
Super
for
Mega
the
Death Rocket comes out to get the final kill, and yeah, Gwen is going to pick up this bot lane turret. They're waiting to pick up the mid lane turret. I mean, it's looking like they might run out of buildings pretty quick into this game here. Jinx puts down the traps, uses that to get away. And with a reset, you have Otacon coming up soon. Baron's still a while away. I don't think you're waiting for Baron to win this game if you're Solace here.
No, absolutely not. And on CLT, I saw your chat. The gold difference topside is about 5,000 gold, 4,500 exactly. It's almost double. It's almost double Malphite's gold entirely. Good luck with this series cast on the other side. This one looks really rough. It's a 420 Blaze It kill lead or a kill score right now, and about 11,000 gold difference on Solace side. So at this point in time, you know, 11,000 gold, putting that in perspective, depending on the items, that's about four whole items ahead. So pretty crazy stuff. Really, really hard to get past anyone who's got that much of an advantage on you.
Yeah,
I think
you're getting to the point. Oh, we see Gwen catching Xin here. Xin makes it over the wall to hit the Milio. Maybe he can use that to escape. Milio bubble hits. and Gwen chooses to back away, but Nyla gets hit by the Lilia bubble and is put to sleep. Kennen ult on top, and Nyla's down. Victor gets stunned up. They're just taking them all down. There's just a big wallet dip at this point, it looks like, and with the move speed that Milio generates for his team, we're going to see an inhib go down, and with the lack of minions, it looks like we're going back for an Otacon.
You know, one thing I haven't even thought about, and I've just noticed now, it just came up, just a side note, is that Malphite doesn't have boots, so it's very difficult for him to get away from anything. No wonder why it looked like he was slow earlier. I didn't even realize he doesn't have boots yet, so in any place he goes in, they've got to fully commit. It doesn't look like there's a spot right now, you know, in the jungle is where they would traditionally want to have the wombo combos happen. It's confined space, but even in that space there, Solace owns everything. It's just really hard when you have your best case scenario for positioning, but you don't have your best case in terms of wallet. It's a wallet diff.
Yeah, and as I was saying earlier before that fight broke out, the way gold leads are usually distributed across a team, if you're down 5,000 gold, each individual member is probably about 1,000 gold ahead, which means you'll hit item breakpoints first, but you won't be an entire item behind. With a gold lead like this, basically everyone on the other team is going to have one more item than you. It's not like there's one person you can focus down and they have all the gold now. It's everybody's got all the gold now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you end up getting the Gwen, you have to deal with the super version of Lilia. Then you have to deal with the super version of Kennen. It just doesn't end. And you have Emilio, and you have an Enchanter, who makes it even more difficult. But basically multiplying some of those items by some factor, maybe 10%, maybe 30%, depending on the champion that you were playing. And now those champions who are already an item ahead of you are really kind of feeling like they're an item and a half, 2 items ahead, as there's an Enchanter sitting behind, buffing up everything they do.
Yep, and you see Solace doing a really good job getting wards down across the jungle. Milio almost gets picked here, but I think the Jinx traps might be enough. We see Maokai ult coming out. Milio cleanses himself. Kennen ult on top of the two of them. And Malphite solo ulting just the Milio at the very end of the fight doesn't seem like that's going to be enough to help them win it.
Yeah, Jinx is just walking in, taking what's theirs. And Gwen's certainly going to go for the all-in here.
Yep, really easy all-in from Gwen on the top side. Doesn't even have to use 2 casts of ult, I don't think. And we've talked most of this game about Gwen, but Lilia not only keeping up, but staying exactly even in gold, multiple kills ahead. Done a great job this game. Getting the sleep on Nyla here. We'll see if Nyla's able to make it back to the fountain, or if it's just a little bit too late.
Yeah, there's definitely
and it is
for the win, but Lilia definitely just as much. And the game's going to end here. For Solace Endevour taking game 1, very, very one-sided.
Convincing win. 23.5 minutes in, and it's over for game 1.
All right. Well, that was a very convincing game 1. Let's go back to this. 1 second here. I'm going to now have to sort out a few small points with this Discord audio as we transition back to this now. So yeah, that's the first game. I thought that was a statement game from Solace. Ultimately, you know, I expected that there would be some wombo combo available from Royal Rogues to kind of take this and turn it into a game that had some back and forth, but it was Solace basically dominating. Aside from the early kills that Nyla got, once that fell apart, it was kind of just doing the ending charades.
Yep, I think the break point for that game was Solace sending 2 members top to try and help stop when Royal Rogues went to break that freeze.
Yeah.
They end up 3 for 0ing. Gwen keeps the lead, gets an even stronger lead. I think they take tower or take 4 plates. Just a big explosion of gold on top of the huge lead that already formed.
Yeah, it sucks, man. You're playing the Malphite. You're playing basically an archetypical counter matchup for you. Very hard to even exist in that lane in the first place, and now you're so far behind that you feel like even if you try to go in and get XP, you'll just get killed for existing. It's a worst case scenario. It's absolute doomsday. I think for this draft, they're going to have to adapt. They're going to have to come up with something else that isn't maybe as a better blind pick or to hand your top last pick on red side. Guess we'll see what they end up doing for this draft, but we're gonna have to see what they're gonna adapt to. Certainly, that type of lead can't happen again if they're trying to um, come out on top this time.
Yeah, and I have to say, I do believe personally that all drafts are winnable, but I think you're putting yourself in a really bad spot to opt into a matchup like Malphite into Gwen.
Yeah, it's interesting. Malphite, especially in this tournament, feels like they're almost always being used as the scapegoat for being counterpickable. There's a lot of blind picks that don't do super well. 1 second, actually. Yeah. Just trying to get the caster in here for this game. Let's see if we can try to do this again. You should be able to hop in at this. So someone just hopped out. 1 second. There we go. All right. So a couple more minutes until we start up this next match. I'm going to bring up the second draft here, and I was in the midst of saying something and I lost my train of thought midway through. I apologize. But effectively, there's going to have to be a change in draft in order to support their team for this one. Give me 1 second as I load up the draft here, and we'll be getting into game 2 very soon.
Indeed, and just like we were talking about in pregame for that game 1, Solace really getting a lot of work done through the top side of the map, so I think we can expect a similar strategy game 2, and I think it'll be up to Royal Rogues to see if they can find something better as an answer to it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's getting back to what I was saying earlier as I remembered my train of thought, the blind picks that exist in the game, it feels like, I think statistically it was known that Silas used to be the absolute worst counterpick to ever have exist in League Legends against Malphite. Developers at Riot at one point revealed that was the case statistically. And so Malphite gets used as a a talking point whenever there's blind picks, counter picks, and we kind of saw that in review there. I think it's totally possible that they run, just spitball on random, Exodia comp stuff here. We could talk about like Gnar and Malphite and Rumble and Galio and all those different forms of like heavy engage, beefy frontliners as being a part of that mix.
Yeah, for sure. I think we probably, like, if I'm Royal Rogues in this game right here and I'm ready for draft, what I'm thinking about is I want a proactive early jungler. I want to pick the most lane dominant top laner I can, and I'm just going to gank top 600 times and cross my fingers.
Yeah, and I'm kind of surprised. We in game 1 we were talking about the Darius. No Darius, no ban for Darius, no pick for Darius, nothing, no priority on Darius. Game 2, I'd be very surprised if we don't see it here after a dominating game 1 performance. Throw down the gauntlet. If I don't see a Darius ban here, I would very much expect that Solace gets it in their first set of 3 picks.
Yeah, if I'm Solace's top laner here, I'm first picking Darius. I'm throwing it out into the world and saying, try me. But also, from the perspective of Gwen maybe being a flex pick, if you're taking Gwen early and then you see the Malphite matchup and you're confident on it top lane, you don't need to play Darius. You've already won that matchup, right? Like,
Yeah, honestly, it's a bit of a better lane, right? Darius is, an AD champion. Malphite likes to play against AD, and sure, it's not a winning lane matchup, but it's you can kite out the Darius a little bit, you can poke him a little bit. You have some opportunity. Gwen is just unwinnable.
yeah, it's all about just trying to do your best to slow down the Gwen long enough that you can just ignore her and just fingers crossed that you can win a team fight, grab an objective, and grab a tower before Gwen kills your whole base.
We see Solace picking the Kai'Sa up here. Same bands as Fearless typically goes amongst both teams. Yeah. As a first pick, so they're going with Kai'Sa to begin with. That's interesting. I really like Kai'Sa. I think that she fits into every single comp ever. Unless there's a specific AD carry or poke combo Like mage bottom, they used to be very prevalent. I feel like probably gave her a hell of a time. But I like her on almost every single comp, and we're seeing the Vi counter.
Yeah, I think Vi really good if you have a target that you want to just point at and say, you're going to die now. It's her specialty. And we also see Vayne coming into the Kaisa. I have trouble as a support player, even just identifying which AD carry is better in lane right now between these two specifically. I think it's most AD carry matchups are very skill based. You can win a matchup just by wiggling better a lot of the time.
It's an interesting way of putting it. Vayne, who was hailed as being, the late game AD carry for many early seasons, and then turned into somewhat of a lane bully for some amount of time versus a large majority of picks for a very temporary amount of time. But I don't know how many years I'm talking about at this point. At this point, currently, I see Vayne top lane. I don't see Vayne in the AD carry position almost ever. So I kind of wonder if Vayne
That's a
here is
good
being
shout.
picked as a preemptive counterpick to what they might play top as a flex.
Yeah. Is my understanding correct that it's pretty good into Darius?
It is. You have a very high burden of execution, though, because your Vayne auto attack basically freezes you exactly the range that it takes for Darius to pull you. If you
Right.
dodge Darius pull, you kill him. But if you don't dodge Darius pull, you're as good as dead. So it's interesting. It's a very, very high mechanical play that you need to make versus Darius. But, for the first few levels, Darius doesn't instantly kill you. You've got Condemn, right? You have a dash away. And presumably, most Vaynes run Flash and Ghost just like Darius does. So it is difficult for Darius to punish you early on, even if he does grab you. So it's a good pick. Maybe that's the strategy here.
We're going to have to see a switch up in draft this game in terms of bans as the Pyke gets picked in the third rotation, stopping that fourth ban Pyke from ever showing up again.
Yeah. Alistar and Graves, I'm seeing Solace kind of doing a lot more aggression that I would expect on the bottom half of the map, unlike first game where they were playing the Jinx Milio.
Yeah, Jinx Milio and Kaisa Alistar play pretty differently. I think the main thing to consider here is if this is a Vayne AD carry, I'm not sure you want Alistar into it. It's not trivial, but very doable to constantly push Alistar back when he tries to engage. Alistar's a fine team fighter. You can get a lot done. Vayne True Damage doesn't really care about Alistar ult. So in the same way game one we saw Malphite getting picked into Gwen, Alistar into Vayne, not the same, but reminiscent.
So interesting. I'm seeing 4 mid lane bans in the second rotation as neither team has picked their mid laner clearly, and we get Ari Galio and Ori Kale banned. They pick Lissandra as a blind. That's interesting.
Lissandra. No.
Oh, I didn't transition over. I'm so sorry. Thank you. 1 second here. Am I supposed to be streaming the draft? The answer is yes. Here we go.
Lissandra really, really good with the Vi. And we see a Smolder. Looks like it's going to be a Smolder mid. I really don't like that pick.
Well, I've seen some weird stuff
coming
out of this tournament. I think that there's potentially Cook, but going with normal stuff, it could be Smolder mid. And honestly, why do you not like that pick? I feel like that's fine. Lissandra's relatively short range. Smolder's not going to get heavily destroyed by it. He takes cleanse. He's fine. I would be surprised if he does, but that used to be how you play against Lissandra. Oh no, now we have double George. Okay, give me 1 second. Alright, I have muted one George. George?
Alright, we're back and with less ear damage, hopefully.
I am so sorry. But now it's fixed. Should be good now. Seeing thumbs up. Alright. So, back to the draft. So we finished up the draft here. We have Dr. Mundo versus Nasus. So, it is going to be a Vayne AD carry.
Yeah, it looks like Vayne AD carry. We're seeing Nasus top into Mundo. And Smolder mid is what sticks out to me immediately. Well, I see two things, actually. I see the player that we've consistently seen be a super strong carry for Solace is now on Dr. Mundo. And in addition to that, we're picking Smolder, opting into it, into Vi jungle and Lissandra mid. If I'm Royal Rogues, I know what I'm doing this game. I'm letting my Nasus scale up against the Mundo, and I am ganking mid 900 times.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be hard for you to not want to just nonstop gank a Smolder. You know he's as good as nothing early game. He's a walking sack of gold. Is how I feel about him up until he's not. Um, and you have Lissandra, like you said, really great gank assistance. Lissandra Vi, total lockdown for like what you combine it together. It's got to be something close to 5 or 6 seconds of full CC.
I would say.
So doesn't feel like you're going to get to play the game too much. Kaisa Alistar versus Vayne Pike. I know you just mentioned how you think that uh, the lanes can be won just based off of skill. You got to give an edge to one of these. I feel like it's got to go to Kaisa Alistar. I mean, Vayne Pike doesn't seem to me very synergistic. Both kind of playing for themselves.
I think I don't know. I'm very vibes based with my matchups here. I can't just pull it out of a playbook. I can tell you anything Alistar wants to do proactively, Vayne can shut down, and everything Pike wants to do proactively, Alistar can shut down. Alistar brings good CC for Kaisa passive, so you're gonna have to watch out for that Kaisa passive stacking up a lot early and giving you a big burst of damage when you're not expecting it. And then Vayne in these team fights has the opportunity to go nuts. I think we're looking at Graves trying to get a lead as a way to shut down a lot of the squishier members on Royal Rogues. But in terms of just the bot lane matchup, Pike was banned for a reason. I want to see some good things out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of happy to see the Pike. I think that Pike lends itself to a lot of skirmishing. You know, you make good use of the passive where you heal on up after having some trades. Alistar, Kaisa, you know, they have some lockdown early, but nothing that would be one-shotting Pike, at least in early game. So I'm kind of interested to see that. I think it makes way for a lot of roams on very susceptible champions like the Smolder in mid lane. So I'm interested to see how that shakes things up. Otherwise, you know, I would say that Royal Rogue's draft is relatively similar to what they like to play. You know, very heavy CC style, front to back, and high damage backline composition with Vayne here. But the Pike is spicing it up.
I think you're exactly right with the Pike on the roaming. If you can get a little bit of an advantage in lane, if you can find a good timer, Pike can sprint mid and look for Smolder and just keep on applying that pressure like I was talking about, trying to get that Smolder down.
You know, everyone's correcting me, and I didn't even realize it as I'm talking about it. It is Kaisa mid. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's interesting when I'm going back and forth with all the scene transitions and stuff, and I'm looking at the draft, and I don't even notice that the Kaisa gets locked in and it's in the wrong position because it's one different. But you look at that, it is Kaisa mid. So we talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
It could be Kaisa mid. They could still be cooking. And then I just didn't believe it. I kind of let it go. Smolder mid just made more sense stylistically with Kaisa generally wanting to have the stacks that she can get from Alistar. And then here it is. It's Kaisa mid and Smolder bottom.
Yeah. And I mean, we can talk about all the differences between Kaisa and Smolder, but there are a couple similarities. They're both really squishy AD that kind of don't have very much range. Smolder has kind of conditional range with an eventual bounce on his Q and his W being a very slow but large projectile. But they only just have this small little speed up on their one kind of movement ability. It still seems like it's going to be the same result, where Vi and Lissandra just want to make as much happen mid as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you put Kaisa bottom, I could see a world where Kaisa Alistar can make the right aggressive play and knock someone down and really kill them. I don't get that same feeling out of Smolder, and I think the answer as to why would be that I don't see the 5-stack Kaisa passive type of damage that Smolder could have. I don't know if there's any chance that Smolder can look to get an early skirmish in his advantage, but I've heard about how changes to Smolder have made him much more lane dominant than he used to be. So I guess we can see that. I'm not well educated on how Smolder works nowadays. He's changed so much That he's gone from being this super AD carry for late game to kind of being a little bit more shifted early and even mid game. That I don't know how
you
to
can
account
think
for.
of him. You can think of him kind of in a similar spot to like a Jace. He's more of an AD caster than an AD carry early on. You want to be uh, either taking a Comet build and kind of poking out with W as much as you can, farming up with your Q, or you can take like a fleet footwork kind of style and just try to keep healed up on the wave. I wouldn't be surprised if we see fleet footwork when we're getting an Alistar as our support. Alistar really good at standing next to his tower and healing your AD carry to full by being nearby. It's a really good way to just point at your opponents and say, you are not going to kill me. You're not going to poke me out of lane. I'm going to get some CS.
All right, George, it's time for the question. You know my favorite question. It's time. Nameplates off, teams off. Consider only champions. Which draft are you taking?
I think if this was a team I was playing for,
Oh, I've lost you again. Give me a second. I gotta keep doing this every time. You were right. I was gonna have to do it again when I came into it. Let's see. Yep, we did lose a mid-sentence. All right, can you try talking again, good sir? Nope, not yet. What the heck? Give me a second. I fixed the wrong one. Aha, I found it. Yes, this will not be a problem the next time I do this. Go ahead, good sir. You're now online.
all right, so I think in terms of ease of execution, you have to give the team comp advantage to Solace here. Their win condition is very simple. Their Mundo is going to get really strong, and then he's going to stand there, and Smolder's going to be behind the Mundo, and Smolder's going to kill everyone.
We're seeing a lot of pings about Smolder being alive. What's going on here? What do you think the beef is with Smolder that Dr. Mundo has?
Ooh. We'll have to find out shortly.
Yeah, we will. As we see an invade from the side of Rouges.
And Crazy on this Smolder here, doing a great job standing in the right spot, sniffing that invade out, stopping it in its tracks.
Alright, let me make sure I have everything brought up properly here so I can monitor this for any Twitch chatters.
Tell me Lowe's and George mid-sentence. So the 5-stack doesn't work out to anything. And you're saying that you're taking Solace Endeavor's comp this time around, huh? Triple 80 carry, double frontline tank. That's what you prefer.
I think it's the easiest thing to execute on. I don't think it's maybe the best solution. Royal Rogues definitely has a more proactive game. And I think they'll need to do that, be proactive if they want a chance here. Royal Rogues currently down 0-1.
So,
yeah.
I decided to add that in there just to make that a little bit easier to track, know what games it is in between. So we got a little bit of poke going on. Pike landing the Q. Alistar responding with the Q, trading relatively even. It's going to be hard for Mundo to kind of get this Nasus out of lane.
Yeah, you say that, but Nasus already popping a pot at level 1 here.
Dorn's Blade start for the Nasus, and he went Fleet Footwork as well. As we see
Going really far up to get a stack, though.
Nasus going in for a lot of damage he's taken for just to get a bit of stack early game. And the Mundo gets
And
first
he's
blood.
Dead. Wow.
Auto reset, first blood immediately. I'm just thinking about how hard it is for Nasus to get taken out of this lane with all the stuff he has. There it is.
Yep. And again, very quickly into this game, we've made the connection. Solace is top laner, very good at League of Legends. Seems to get really strong in all of these games. I think you gotta be a little bit more cautious with your play.
Yeah. What's the dog doing? That's right. It seems like the dog went for an early stack and got punished by an all-in from Mundo. Not something you see at level 2. Mundos aren't typically the guys who are hunting you down early game. They're fighting for their life, but he knew the exact spot that he could take the biggest trade, and he went for it.
And we see this Vi finishes the jungle clear, looks to maybe go top, decides against it, walks mid, decides against it, and now taking the scuttle grab.
Yeah, pretty standard clears coming out from what I'm seeing. You know, Vi's got most of her jungle cleared up.
Yeah, only manages to get 4 camps as this Graves path gets in the way of it a little bit.
I feel like I'm missing something. What? She's down?
Yeah, Graves was able to take the red buff.
Ah, I didn't even realize that. As they both double flash their Kaisa for Vi to try to trade, get a kill him here mid. And I think that that's exactly what we need. We need Vi to be able to burn that early flash, take a camp or 2, wrap back around, go back to mid, wrap back around, go back to mid.
Yep. First step is taking the flash, but you can't give up on that. It's not a lost gank just because you don't get a kill. You need to follow up now. And we see a big fight bottom lane.
Getting a proc W, looking for the second proc W, doesn't get it off. The Ignite gets burnt. There's no kill. Meanwhile, Pike.
Oh, but we see Vi in this
Graves.
Graves.
While also Mundo's going in. Alistar looks for a headbutt, doesn't hit it.
Combo gets dodged by that Pike.
So it looks
And
like
in the top lane, Nasus blows Ghost, trying to escape this Mundo again.
Alistar's walking up. Looked like he was going to go for a trade there. Says, nope, I'm just kidding this minion. Have a good day. I'll be back later.
And taking a look towards top side real quick. Oh,
looks like a full
Pike maybe
disconnect
disconnecting.
And I don't see any pause coming through, but that was clearly a disconnect.
It seems like it might have been. Walking up and doing nothing is not the preferred strategy for a bot laner.
You're telling me you haven't thought of that one? You gotta cook up some spice more often, as Mundo is looking for heavy trades. It's very low, uses the W.
Oh, Nasus maybe has the edge here though.
Oh, but Mundo hits 6
but Mundo hits 6.
And this looks all a bit over for him. Well played,
really
buddy.
Unfortunate. Getting so close to that kill on the Nasus side, but just not enough damage. Mundo ticks over to 6, and big heals come out. Easy kill.
Well, this is a big Mundo at this point in the game, and you know him. He's a late game monster. You know, it's interesting. I don't often see Mundos who take the early lead like this. What kind of offensive power can you build out of it? The only thing I think of is you go for Titanic early and try to do like a double auto reset one-shot combo.
I suppose that's possible with the dragon getting picked up at the same time, we should mention. But I think more likely, we just see Heartsteel coming out earlier. The faster you start ringing the bell, the bigger your health bar is going to get.
Yeah, it's interesting to see a Mundo, you know, one of the only types of champs that he would actually ever be fearful of in team fights. There it is, it's the Vayne. So when Vayne does have those 2 items, the Mundo might be huge, but it's going to be difficult to stay alive versus that. But I don't actually think Mundo is looking to do too many fights. I think that he can sidelane this. His 4v4 team has enough beef and brawl to kind of hold it on their own.
Yep. And the one thing we have to mention is the wave state top lane here. Nasus is going to get stuck in the same situation he was in on Malphite last game. There's this huge wave that Mundo is just going to be able to freeze. And without help from his team, he's not going to be able to break this freeze.
Yeah, I could see this happening almost exactly the same way. Mundo is certainly okay with taking quite a bit of damage with his passive regeneration. He's got no resources. He can stay here as long as possible. And it's going to be very difficult for Vi and Nasus. And Nasus has no way of proccing the Mundo passive. So Vi cannot get any CC onto him without using her own curse. I think that Mundo is going to be a literal brick.
We see both supports roaming up towards the mid lane. Pyke staying on the bottom side. Alistar getting a deep ward all the way into the enemy red.
Vi goes in,
but here's
the ult to lock it up. Vi follows up with the ulti. Graves ulting out. They get the Kaisa. Mundo's
huge 3-man knockup by Alistar.
Yeah. Alistar coming in with the combo to try to get something back for it, but they can't make anything of it.
It's interesting to see that type of play working out for them in that spot. Very, very close. Lissandra was very low. But they have to give up the grubs. They don't have the health position with it.
It seems like they might be trying, though. Pyke in the area.
You see the Mundo going in for a heavy trade versus the Nasus. Mundo popping the ulti later on when he gets lower. Nasus is very, very low. Camera pans over to mid lane for some reason. And now, it looks like the last hit, and Mundo gets it. That's crazy. I honestly felt like there was a couple more Qs where Nasus can get it with the Sheen, but nope. Just another kill, and finishing up on the grubs here. One last one available.
Kai'Sa flashing away from a Pyke gank mid at the same time.
I'm going to start moving away from the direct camera for some of these fights. I give it too much faith that it won't move away at the moment that like a Mundo Malphite, or sorry, a Mundo Nasus duel is going on.
Indeed.
So overall,
these 80 carries have been left alone for a good amount of time here. Smolder already at 63 stacks, not a horrible number. Maybe a tiny bit low for 10 minutes, but nothing unacceptable.
What's your ideal stack timer for 9 minutes in? Are you trying to hit 10 stacks a minute by 10 minutes?
No. Smolder accelerates the faster you go, the more the queue evolves. You definitely want 25 stacks by 5 minutes and 20 seconds. And you definitely want 225 by 22 or 23 minutes. But everything in the middle is a little bit more nebulous.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. He's doing fine in this regard. I mean, he's got 83 CS. Ultimately, I feel like... Oh, I thought I was going... Or the sun was going on now. Ultimately, I feel like, you know, their comp can be very heavy on the poke with Kai'Sa and Smolder.
You see
Pyke
going for something here.
Gets a stun onto the Alistar. Vayne used her ult to go on in. Silverbolt's proccing. Alistar uses the headbutt to get out of range.
Yeah, and both players flashing to make it out, but they both live.
Is GoPro a Smolder support enthusiast, we're being asked?
We did a little bit of cooking, but it didn't turn out to work out very well. Smolder really needs some CS to get stack numbers. You can't just rely on poke.
I see. Mundo's going in for a heavy trade again. Pyke looking for a hook. Gonna get headbutted back towards his tower. Uses the E to stun and try to disengage. Smolder following up with the ultimate, chasing with the E. But Pyke's gonna get away, he's just too fast.
Yep, Alistar breaking one of my personal rules, never ignite Pyke.
Never ignite Pyke. Why not?
Yep.
He's got the passive, you're wanting him, why don't you ignite?
Pyke doesn't take damage from ignite. He presses W, he walks 3 feet away from you, and now we see a counterplay.
By using the ultimate to lock down the Smolder, flashing past the Alistar looks like he's going to get locked down. The Pyke uses the ultimate, doesn't reset onto the Alistar. Meanwhile, the Vayne's very low, the Graves on top of him, uses the barrier, the Graves going in. And it's a trade, 1 for 1, as the Vi re-engages back onto the Smolder, gets the passive proc. Smolder's using the slow to get away. But it's not enough, and Smolder barely gets killed. Very close.
Yeah, great turnaround. Just continuing to go back in after a quick reset from the side of Royal Rogues, but at the same time, you're a little bit sad Pyke's not ulting all 3 of those kills.
Yeah.
It's a lot of economy you're missing out on.
Looks like Mundo overstayed his welcome here as he gets locked down by Lissandra, and that's going to be a kill going over to Nasus. Very much needed help.
Yep.
Lots of gold, so that's nice. But yeah. So the Pyke ultis, man. If the Pyke ulti resets there, that fight can look a lot different. It's very close too. I wonder if there was a little indicator. I don't know if it shows up on the replay here that he was going to kill and then the guy regen.
Either way, I think it's just so close. A lot of the times on Pyke, you want to click those as early as you can.
Yeah,
but yeah,
especially in
when
a
it
close
multiplies
fight
your
like that.
gold killed, gives you the full gold kill to either yourself or your ally that assisted you. That's like a 900 gold swing there that they're just missing out on. And coming out of base, Solace are able to take the dragon after that play anyway. So they get some money, but they lose out on another objective.
So 2 dragons for Solace Endeavour at this point. Their comp very, very invading on the Vi, looking for a kill. Graves going in with the E, doing a little bit of damage, just saying get out of here. This is my jungle now. As Lissandra is looking to punish this.
Yep, looks like they have the numbers advantage for this one.
Goes in on the E. Also is there for a headbutt pulverized combo. Pike looking for a hook, lands it, gets the smolder. Smolder ults, Vi's following up.
1 HP Vi gets across the entire team.
And it's time for Pike to get
These
some
Pike ults are resetting.
Vayne's going in on the Graves, looking for the final hit. Gets it, can go back for the Alistar. Meanwhile, the Pike healing up, gets the reset, and it's a clean sweep. 4 for 1 to the side of Royal Rose.
4 for 1, and I believe 2 Pike ults on top of that 4 for 1. Kind of a 6 for 1.
And you can see the gold is exploding. It's 2k gold lead all of a sudden for Royal Rose.
Yep.
That's a lot of kills onto the Vayne. The only real reasonable threat to the Dr. Mundo on their team.
Yep. You see Dr. Mundo still having a really good time top lane, but not completely keeping the Nasus out of it. And at the same time, yeah, just like you said, the Vayne is the thing that will stop the Mundo.
It's really difficult, you know, of all the things that you're playing against as Mundo, you're playing against a guy who can point and click slow you. It's going to make it very easy for Vayne to kite all around him, hit his teammates, and come back to him later when he's done with it. So I can see a world where Mundo actually has a very tough time trying to stay ahead of the game. In the side lane, there will be a point where he can't slow down the Nasus effectively. As we see Vi looking for some type of gank, but gets counter-ganked before it even begins.
Yeah, they were thinking they might have some time to go for a play with the Mundo ult down. We see a play start up bot lane.
Combo underneath the tower, gets killed for it, and it looks like it's going to be a follow-up, and the Vayne is just way too strong.
Yeah, Vayne Pike doing a really great job this game, honestly. And we see why that Pike was banned game 1. It's popping off.
You see the Dr. Mundo get a kill on the Nasus. Paisa gets traded for it. Vi is looking, using the tower aggro, and gets the Mundo. Meanwhile, Lissandra's looking for a solo kill on the Graves at the Rift Trail. This Graves is taking that. And this game is just exploding all of a sudden. There's just kills non-stop left and right. We're slowing it down, now we're speeding back up.
And the opposite of last game, Royal Rogue's now the ones up 4,000 gold at 15 minutes. On top of that, if we just look at the gold distribution real quick, Pike has more gold than everyone on Solace except Mundo.
That's crazy. Yeah, look at this. It's an almost 3,000 gold lead on the 80 carry for Vayne. We have the mid laner up in gold. You know, the only one who's really reasonably down in gold is Nasus. And Nasus, you're not unhappy about being down in gold. All you care about is how much that Q button says.
Speaking of, we're seeing 189 at 16.5 minutes. A little bit low, but considering how oppressive this lane's been for you, it's not 0. You still have the option to keep stacking later into the game.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, at 60 minutes, it'd be great if you're at 200, 250 stacks, but that's in a lane state where you've been able to participate. It's you know, miracle enough that he's been able to keep his tower alive this whole time, considering how one side of the lane state is bad, but I'm gonna eat my words here. The tower goes down. Nasus uses the ability to just get some stacks, and hey.
Yeah, at some point, that's all you can do.
Looking at the builds
You have your
here,
ult.
we see that the Kai'Sa's completed Ludens.
Yeah, interesting. Going, looks like for a full AP build, taking the Amplifying Tome after the Ludens.
Over the wall, gets it. It's a free kill.
Yep. Bullying that mid with the Lissandra synergy. It's exactly what we wanted to see in the pregame.
So, is this enough AP? Is this 100? Oh yeah, it's 100 on the item alone, so it's enough for...
Oh, 2 tower hits! Wow. Oh, but the Graves ult misses! The tower executes first, and it's just accidentally an insanely funny play.
They follow up on it, though. They kill the Graves for it, and now they're going to knock down Tower 1. Knock down potentially Tower 2. As the Alistar goes in.
Does a little bit of a bigger charge if you're inside it. They opt to go for the Alistar instead. Force the flash.
Looks like there's a TP going in. It looks like Solace is committing to this fight. Vi and Pike have long since left. They're not looking to fight that 3v2. And Nasus and Mundo are just beating their heads in while the dragon fight is looking to start.
Indeed. And it looks like Solace are going to have a hard time trying to take this dragon away.
Yeah. Oh, Pike gets a hook
And
over the wall.
Kaisa
Plus,
hooked over the
hooked
wall.
Wow.
Crazy. Lissandra trying to help out with this top lane. Cleaver misses.
Don't see too many worlds where Mundo's able to fully get away, but he pops a ghost. He's just so fast. Nasus doesn't even
Nasus out of mana.
Gray's going in, gets the kill onto the Nasus, looks to knock down the Lissandra, has so much damage. Lissandra uses the ulti onto Mundo, and he just says, no, I don't agree. I will not stop moving.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit desperate. We're up in gold on the side of Royal Rogues. I think they just went a little bit too far with it.
Yeah. So you're at this state in the game, right? You see your two beefy brawlers in the form of Mundo and Alistar, relatively healthy, but your backline, you know, isn't really there yet. I guess you're just looking to hang on. You got two dragons, you got a lot of time. How do you feel about the win con for Royal Rogues here, though? It seems like they're in a prime position to start taking over this game.
Yeah, I think they just need to keep doing what they're doing on the bot half and send one extra person when they want to deal with Mundo, or send somebody other than Lissandra. I think Lissandra really isn't the right choice as an assist if you want to take the Mundo down.
Yeah, understandable. I mean, she just has so much front-loaded damage, not enough to really cut down the tank, right?
Exactly.
Otacon is showing up on the bottom half of the map. It's 20 minutes. It's time for the big brawly fights. Any pick at this point in time can mean that Otacon goes down. There's 3 AD carries on one side, there's a Vayne on the other. Any single pick is enough. There's a lot of damage. We see a TP coming in.
Oh, Kaisa starting to deal a lot more damage with that W. If she can hit a couple more in a row, this will get a lot more dangerous for them.
Looks like it's going to be a Horizon's focus. Meanwhile, Solace has just started up the Otacon, unbeknownst to Royal Rogues, as they seem to push down mid lane. I don't know if they're aware.
Yeah. It seems like they're not, or if they are, they're opting to just go for a mid turret instead. Let's see how much they can take mid as a trade.
Rushing down this injured turret, saying, I don't care about the Otacon at all. They are TP.
They managed to get 2 mid waves, 2 mid turrets off of it.
It's interesting. The team opted not to take the inhibitor here. Maybe this is one of those situations where you think 20 minutes is too early to start seeding over full waves mid.
I think it's probably just they were scared about the recalls coming in a little bit sooner. But yeah, it would have been pretty close if they stayed.
What are we looking at for smolder stacks here, George?
167 at 21's a little lower than you want. I think generally you want to be done stacking pretty soon after, within the next minute or so, and it looks like about a 25-minute with the way things are going.
Like really close, looking for this hook. Throws it sideways, thinking that the smolder might dodge the other way. And so
Yep, loses the 50-50 on that one.
Yeah, so I see this Kaisa build looks like it might be Horizon focused second item. You know, Nasus is maybe the only person who really doesn't care too much about these. I feel like Vayne, Lissandra, Vi, all of them, they can definitely get poked down by this, but I just don't see fights playing that slowly. I mean, you've got a Lissandra and a Vayne. They're going to play as fast as they possibly can in these fights.
We see 3 members kind of leaning towards that Mundo lane, but the cleavers just keep hitting off these wards through the wall. Mundo telling them to go home.
Yeah, there's not much you can do to move this rock out of the lane unless you start sending Vayne over, but Vayne's, you know, landlocked mid lane. Not much you can do right now.
Yeah, and I think I'd be a little worried if I was on the Royal Rogue side right now. We had all these proactive plays going on with the Pike, we were winning a bunch of skirmishes, and things have just slowed down completely. Gave up Otacon in exchange for some turrets, but all the scrappiness has kind of left them in the last couple minutes here.
Yeah, totally agreed. However, I will say that while the Mundo is in the side lane telling everyone to go home, it's really difficult for Solace to respond to any engage. As we see an engage starting to move its way on out, Lissandra's looking for it, gets the flash W in, locks down the Smolder goes away. Meanwhile, Vi is following up. Vi looks onto the Graves. They lock down the Graves, get the Graves, they trade the Lissandra for it in the meantime. Headbutt pulverize onto the Vayne. Vayne splashes in, looking for the kill on Kaisa. Doesn't get it. Kaisa.
Oh, Bell gets
Barely
rung there.
And Mundo's in, looking for his kill. One more cleaver, he gets it.
Blue team double kill.
And that's
What a disastrous end to a really good start to the fight there.
3 for 2 for Solace Endeavour. They can take down this mid lane tower.
And Mundo will hit it with Demolish, and that'll be the end of it.
Goodbye, entire tower.
Yeah. Really good headbutt pulverize coming out, or maybe just headbutt. Headbutting Vayne directly into the range of Mundo, forcing a flash further into their own team.
Yeah, I was surprised. I think that, honestly, you know, the front to back is going relatively well at that point. You get one more flash auto on that Kaisa and she just goes pop, but it's just not enough, and they end up paying for it. The Mundo's able to hunt down one more after the fact.
Yeah, and we were talking about how the win condition for Solace might be just having Mundo in front with Smolder and Kaisa kind of hitting over the top. In that fight, it was Mundo behind, flanking with his massive damage on Heartsteel.
Nobody ever expects the Mundo damage. And then
I think we've all been there once or twice.
Oh, man. That guy, to me, feels like the better version of Nasus currently, which is ironic considering that both of them are in this game. But when Mundo gets to you, he hasn't had to charge up his Q. He's had to charge up his Heartsteel, and that Heartsteel is going to do like 2 Nasus Qs of damage to you at once.
Yep. And we talked about maybe seeing an early Titanic. 24 minutes might still be considered early, but it's his third item.
You see the Mundo get engaged on by the Pike, and he gets 3 hit before he even lands a stun.
Yeah. Pike unable to deal with it, but this Nasus might have enough damage. Oh,
It's a
there's
level
the
16
Mundo ult.
Mundo ulti, and Mundo is saying no, but Vayne is here to try to take out the Mundo. He doesn't have the ability to leave anymore. Time for Vayne
Oh,
to
and here
start
comes the
fighting.
Heartsteel.
Heartsteel stack comes in, but it's not enough, and Vayne just destroys it. Meanwhile, the Baron's being taken by Solace. Lissandra's
Alistar
looking
pushing
for-
them away. Lissandra's in the middle.
Graves lands the smite, they get the Baron and the Lissandra. So it's a 1-for-1 trade, but they get a Baron for it.
Great job by Alistar preventing that Vi from joining in with the Lissandra. That could have been a disaster if I was able to escape the Alistar.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. You know, Solace makes this call at exactly the right time, and Mundo buys ages of time for it. Buys looking for a potential Q here, gets out of there before it's too late.
Alistar sniffs it out. Great job.
So we see the Horizon Focus finished, and the Spellslinger shoes from Kaisa at this point. So her W's should really start landing hard, and we've got, you know, 80 carry items coming into play for Graves and Smolder. They're looking pretty solid at this point. Their front to back should be really hard to get through.
Stack update. Nasus is at 435. Smolder is at 221. So basically Smolder's there. 3 more stacks and Smolder will start burning champions he hits with Q.
That's a very important point for people like Nasus and Pike, I would say even. You say that, so correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe that if you do ignite the Pike or have any damage over time, it keeps him invisible. Is that right? Oh no, Pike, no, ignite's the only one.
It will flash his portrait where he is, but it won't show his full health bar.
Oh really? Ignite doesn't show the champion anymore? Oh
Nope.
wow, it doesn't say that. It used to, right?
It did. Patch notes. I think that's like 8 years old though.
Oh yeah, you know, boomer status here. Interesting. Wow. So that's not a thing. Pike's staying out of the bush. He doesn't want to be in the bush. That's not the way we do things. Oh, there's a pause. It looks like it might have been another DC.
Yeah, we saw the Pike potentially DCing earlier. That might be what this is too.
Yep. Sup, mouse.
Mouse change. Okay,
That
so
makes
not
a lot
an
more sense.
AFK, but yeah, similar.
Okay, no problem. I just have my
I shouldn't say
handy dandy
AFK, not a DC.
drawer of extra mice. You know, I just pull one extra out. So, we're at this
You
point
gotta
in
have
the
a
game.
mouse drawer.
13 to 20. Gotta have a mouse drawer. Oh man.
Yeah.
So you're at this point in the game, 13 to 20. Pretty standard gold lead, I would say. You know, it's 2K. I'm looking at the gold differential between these teams. There's a huge lead on the Vayne. So I effectively feel like the Vayne's in control of this game state from here on out. I still personally have a preference for Royal Rogues. What is your thought here? Are you leaning Solace?
I mean, we've seen the Vayne have the ability to kite out the Mundo with Nessus's help at the very least. The problem is everyone has to die to the Vayne at this point. Lissandra almost has enough damage. We haven't seen Lissandra and Vi too often in the same place, working together in these big team fights. It's happened a couple times, but it hasn't been enough damage yet. We'll see if with these extra items it is. But yeah, I think there's always a chance this game with how good the Vayne's been doing into the Mundo. But man, it's a scary spot to be in, to be so close in gold and at soul point. Never want to see a Mundo with Mountain Soul.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I think that it's interesting because if you're playing Vi Lissandra, your whole kit is built to shut down one dude that you can dive in on. But this composition seems to be wholly based around whether or not Vayne is enabled or dies. If Vayne is dead, no one's killing Mundo. So I really feel like they're going to be playing this weird like kite back and lock down the first guy to go on Vayne comp. At least that's what I would expect to see out of them. There's a chance, I guess, Vi and Lissandra try to backline dive, but who? Maybe Graves? I don't see that Kaisa Smolder really doing more damage than Mundo. I think Mundo has the biggest threat.
I think the issue on the side of Royal Rogues is that obviously you need to kill the Mundo. The way you kill the Mundo is just Vayne, but Vayne needs help. But at the same time, you have these 3 high damage backliners on Solace. You have the Graves, you have the Kaisa, you have the Smolder. Those need to die too. So it's kind of up to Lissandra, Pike, and Vi to kill all the squishy backliners, and at the same time, heal enough that the Vayne can take down the Mundo.
Mundo's going for a flank onto the Vayne. Vayne uses the barrier. My client has crashed. I need to wait a moment.
No, it's just a pause from the pause.
Wait, what?
Will be enacted.
Okay, I tried to get it to work now. I'm going to go back 15 seconds and play it off again. That was odd. I've never had that happen before, but I've never seen a pause on that. So, Mundo's going for a flank onto the Vayne. Vayne sees it a little late, gets the barrier off before she dies, refuses to get out of the way, ends up going down to the Mundo barely. Meanwhile, the Vi is just taken down at the same time. Alistar's going in the tower, gets headbutted back into the Smolder. Smolder gets the kill, and Nasus trades the kill onto the Graves. And it looks like Solace is going to be taking down these towers, potentially ending the game here. It's 4 kills, 1
Yeah,
Nasus.
looks like they're going for the end.
And Nasus absolutely destroyed by a Kaisa W.
Kaisa W just eliminates the last half of his health bar, and it looks like with these numbers, it's going to be the end.
I'll wait a couple minutes for support mount change. He gets back into the game, and his team is just absolutely getting rolled in the fight. And that's going to be it. Wow. 5-0, no.
Oh, GG's to Solace.
GG's to Solace. Very decisive right after the game starts back on up to immediately end the game.
Yep. And we saw again that same flanking Mundo maneuver.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not kidding. So, here we go. Bring up... Where is this thing? Aha. Solace Endevour esports. 2-0.
Yeah, and with that, they'll be looking to try and beat Coinflip next week and make it into playoffs.
Good luck, guys. You're gonna need it. I'm not biased or anything.
GG's to both teams this game, though. Royal Rogues put up a great fight, especially game 2. Solace managing to play 2 pretty clean games.
Yeah, I liked the composition that Royal Rogues put out. I think that they needed to keep up the pressure, and they had it. But with a couple more minutes, a couple more items on some of these really, really nasty scalers on the side of Solace, they're able to just not get picked. That's how. There's no other way to put it. Took the Vayne a long time to get the pick on Mundo, and by that time, Solace had already taken the Baron, and that really, in my opinion, was the spot. As you
They
can
were a little
see,
shaky, but they managed to slow the game down and had enough to stay in it,
you can see the
play off their
post
lead.
game damage. The leader for damage in this game, 36k, Dr. Mundo.
Yeah, wow, what a graph.
You're not kidding. So, I mean, there it was. Mundo gets great flanks later on in the game behind the tower. Says, I'm not scared of tower damage and I'm not scared of Vayne. Double auto attack resets and Heartsteel is enough to chunk her to basically one hit. And it's just now a game of inches. Vayne has to dodge everything or die. One mistake and it's over. And
Yeah.
not even necessarily a mistake, just Mundo's just too much of a stat stick and they can just run it in.
Well, GG's to both teams. Thanks everybody for stopping by. You can catch, I believe CLT should still be casting a game on YouTube right now. You can find it on the LOLMidwest YouTube channel.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for watching. Appreciate it. Have a good night.